All right, welcome, and thank you so much for attending Raise the Roots Live. We're really excited to have you here. We've got some great content to cover, and we only have 15 minutes. My name is Brandon Fuller, and I'm the owner of Raise the Roots. And Raise the Roots is a digital agency that helps nonprofits get the most out of their tools. So if you're looking for help with strategy, with just setting up pages and emails, if you need help with data, maybe finding new supporters, engaging people on social media better, anything like that, I hope you'll visit www.weraisetheroots.com to learn more about us. And right now we're going to do Raise the Roots Live, which is a 15-minute webinar. We've got tips and tricks on getting the most out of engaging networks. So let's go ahead and get started. So all of this, the actual slide deck, the video, and any answers to questions that arise during the webinar will be found on www.weraisetheroots.com/live. If you go to the website, you can see last month's webinar. You can also see the slide deck from that, and we didn't have any questions sent during the webinar, but if during this webinar you do have any questions that arise, we won't have time to answer them during the webinar, so just go ahead and leave your question in the chat window, and I will answer them on the website where everybody can see the responses after we're done. So today we are going to cover 3 topics, the first of which is how to set up those new one-click donation pages in Engaging Networks. That's part of Page Builder. We're also going to talk about doing an A/B test of actual pages, and then we're also going to answer the questions that were submitted. So let's go ahead and get started with one-click donation pages. So in late July, the last week of July, Engaging Networks released an update to Page Builder that now includes one-click donation pages. If you're familiar with the legacy tools in Engaging Networks, you know that one-click donation pages were possible to set up in the legacy tools. It's a little bit easier in Page Builder. And the idea here is that you have a supporter who has donated previously, and so Engaging Networks has stored the credit card type, the credit card expiration date, and a token to charge that credit card. And so rather than showing them the full donation page with all of the content, all of the form fields, and all of that, and possibly scaring them away, you could create a donation page that they will see when they click on the link in your email that will just have the information visible that is stored, allow them to select the amount they want to donate and click submit, and that's it. They're done. Their credit card will be charged. So there are 3 steps to setting up a one-click donation page. Step 1 is actually building the page. Step 2 is connecting that page to your donation page. So we actually have 2 separate pieces here. We have the website that is the one-click donation page that people will see. Then you have the donation page, which can be one that you already have in existence or maybe one that you're creating. And then you're going to connect the 2 of them. And then you're going to test the page, which, as you'll see, is probably the hardest part of the process. So let's start with number 1, building the page. So if you're in Page Builder, under Page Components, you'll see that there's a drop-down and it says Manage Web Pages. This is where you're actually going to create your one-click donation page that your donor will see when they click the link in your email. When you click on Manage Web Pages and you create a new one, you'll see that in addition to naming it and picking the template you want to apply to it, you also have to pick the type of page, and you'll see from the drop-down there's closed pages, error pages, opt-in pages, e-card pages, and then there's one-click. So you choose one-click. And that'll tell Engaging Networks to display the correct options for you. On that new one-click donation page setup, you'll see that there's the familiar blue bar that's for Engaging Networks. And there are 5 icons there, but there are really only 4 that are, I think, relevant to the one-click donation page. The first one is that little person. That's donation. That's personal data. So that's first name, last name, all those merge fields that you're going to want to show people on the page. The next one, I guess it's supposed to be like a penny or 1 cent. That's the credit card data. So that's where you're going to find the last 4 digits of the credit card, the expiration date, and the credit card type, those merge fields that you're going to put on the page. You can ignore the middle one. The next one is link to page. So in this one-click donation page, let's say the information that's provided is incorrect or somebody wants to update that information. You can insert a link on the page that'll take them to the actual donation page, the same one that brand new donors would see. Your typical donation page that you've linked to this one-click donation page. So it's just an easy way to drop in a link there, and then people can update their information. And then that final little box, it looks like a table, 2 columns, 3 rows. That is actually the donation buttons. So you'll be able to insert buttons onto the page, and you have some flexibility in what those buttons look like. So this is just a sample to give you an idea of what this actually looks like. So here you have the familiar page setup tools that you've seen a million times in Engaging Networks. And I've just put on here, please support our work. Here's a case for why you should donate. And I did include a sentence that explains to people why they're seeing this one-click donation page, so they don't get scared if they're unfamiliar with this. They're used to seeing your regular page designs. So it says, because you've previously supported our efforts, simply confirm the information below is correct, then click the amount of your gift and click submit. So down below you have all this information. So what's going to happen is these are merge fields are going to display the information that's stored in Engaging Networks to your supporter. They can look at this information, confirm that yes, that's all the correct information, then just pick from the little buttons how much they want to donate and click submit. If this information is not correct, that's where we want to have a link so that people can click a link that'll just take them to the regular donation page where they will update and donate the regular way. So if you just highlight here, I have your information, then click here if incorrect. If you just highlight here, then go up to the blue bar there, and you'll see there's that paperclip, and just click on that. Engaging Networks will take care of the rest. They'll make sure they get to the right donation page, but you do want to have some exit point for people who need to update their information. So next, we have this user information. So we have first name, last name, address 1, address 2, city, state, and zip. That's the basic information that we need in order to take a donation. You may have additional fields that you require that you may want to display there. You can maybe put email address, but this is pretty much as pure as you get in terms of the types of information we want to collect. So if you go up to the little blue bar, you'll see there's a picture of a person. If you click on that, you'll have all of the available fields that you can add in there, all the merge fields. And so you just click them one at a time and lay them out so that it's a logical layout for people in terms of city, comma, state, and zip, and just insert those there. Then you have that little that little penny icon. So that's for inserting these donation details. So we have credit card type. I wrote that in. I wrote in credit card type, last 4 digits and expiration date, just so you don't have random information there if you don't know what it is. So credit card type, you go up to that little icon in the blue bar and insert credit card type, the last 4 digits, and the expiration date. And Engaging Networks will automatically populate with that information. So now people can just look at all of this, verify it's correct. That's the card they want to use. That's the correct last 4 digits or whatever. And then finally, you have here these buttons. So you have all the in the blue bar, the little square buttons there. And that's going to allow you to drop in these donation buttons that are at the bottom. And Engaging Networks gives you 2 options. One is just the radio buttons. So you have little radio options with where people can click and fill in the circle with an amount next to each one. And then these are a little bit prettier. You can change the colors. You can change the design a little bit. You can obviously change the amounts if you want to ask for more or less. But yeah, so you just click on that, select the type, customize it the way you want it to look, and then drop it onto the page. So now that you have your one-click donation page, you actually want to attach it to the donation page of choice. So let's say you have 5 different donation pages that you use on a regular basis. You have like an evergreen one, and you have one for end of year. So you have to tell Engaging Networks that for this donation page, I want to associate it with that one-click page I just created. So if you go into settings for your donation page, under donation settings, you'll see that now there's this one-click page option. And that's where you can choose the one-click page you want associated with that donation page. So you can create more than one-click donation page. If you want it to be themed to that particular donation page, you can create as many one-click donation pages as you want, but you just need to choose it. So now when you send out the email and people click on the link to donate, if they already have credit card information stored in Engaging Networks, they'll see that one-click donation page rather than the regular donation page. So this is the hard part, testing it. There is no way of previewing your one-click donation page. So you can't preview it. You can't go to the appropriate donation page and see it. There's only one way to see your one-click donation page, and that is to send yourself or send somebody in your staff who's made a donation and has credit card information stored in Engaging Networks, send them an email. And not just a test email, send them an actual email campaign. So you're going to go to the email tools, create an email campaign. In your email, you want to link to the appropriate donation page using that little link in the blue bar. Then you're going to send it for real. So, when you set up your audience, put email equals Brandon@WeRaiseTheRoots.com. I've got a credit card on file. I've donated already. Then you're going to send it to that person or persons if you put in maybe like 4 of your colleagues. And then they'll receive the email, they'll click the link in the email, and they want to get a screenshot of what the one-click donation page looks like. Because here's the thing, if you go back and try to click that link a second time, you'll be taken to the regular donation page. The link to the one-click donation page, it will only take you to the one-click page one time. It won't happen ever again. So that's unfortunately the way that you set these up. It is and test them. It is a little bit of a frustrating testing process, but for now, this is how it's done. Next, A/B testing pages. So why would you want to do an A/B test of pages? Well, one example is there's always been a debate whether one-step action alerts perform better than two-step action alerts. One-step action alerts where you have the letter to the target, the form, and all that information on one page, or the two-step is where you have the form on one page and the letter to the target on the second page. You could also test new layouts. So if you have different donation page layouts that you'd like to try out, you can test those as well. In Engaging Networks, they actually make this pretty easy. If you already have your 2 pages, so you have Action Alert 1 and Action Alert 2, or Donation Page 1 and Donation Page 2, you just go and create a page the same way you always would, but you'll see down in the lower right-hand corner that you can split test your donation page, or your Action Alert page. So create a page, click on Split Test, and once you do that, you'll go through the same familiar page creation process. You'll name the page. On step 2, you'll actually select the pages that you're having compete with one another. So here I have 2-step action alert versus 1-step action alert. These pages already existed. I'm just choosing them. And then I have to decide what is going to be the split test winner. So essentially it's this Engaging Networks asking you at what point, what's the threshold when we can say that one of the pages is more successful than the other. So you can set it as 1,000 page views. You could set it as 500 page views. It depends on the audience size that you're sending this to kind of get an idea of what is a reasonable number of page views to determine this is a significant sample of people. The winning criteria will be page conversions, because obviously we want the page that gets the most donations or the most actions. And you can click that box that says Enable Automatic Selection of Winner based on the settings below. What that allows you to do is just to set it and forget it. You send your email to your supporters, and the A/B test of the pages will commence. And after 1,000 page views, Engaging Networks will determine which has the most conversions, and then anybody after those initial clicks will go to the winning page. You can select the winner yourself, but this is much easier. So when you want to actually incorporate an A/B test into an email that you're sending, you set up the email the way you normally would, and you link to the A/B test page in the same way you would to a donation page or an action alert page. You go to that blue bar in the email tools, you click the little link at the far left, and you select the A/B test campaign. Not the donation or action alert pages, just that A/B test campaign that you just created. And Engaging Networks will take care of the rest. All right, we're going to finish up with answers to some of your questions. How do we opt in new imported supporters? If you have a spreadsheet of new supporters, maybe from Care2 or another source, you have all the information there, first name, last name, address, email address. Add a column in your spreadsheet for the opt-in that you want to add these people to. And I just go ahead and name it the same thing as the opt-in that's in Engaging Networks. And next to everybody in your spreadsheet, put a capital Y in that column. Then when you import, you're going to match that column to the opt-in, the appropriate opt-in in Engaging Networks, and everybody will be added into the opt-in. What is the CC function in email to target pages used for? So email to target pages, it's another way of saying an action alert that targets policymakers And the CC is actually useful if you're trying to give a heads up to a policymaker other than your target. So let's say you're targeting state legislature in Louisiana, and people are going to send their letters to Louisiana. You can CC the governor of Louisiana as just a way of giving them a heads up that you are generating all these letters to the legislature, and maybe that may have some kind of a strategic advantage that the governor might get involved in this issue or put pressure on the legislature for you. What are ways that conditional content emails are used? So conditional content emails is a great way of sending a specific email to somebody based on a supporter profile. So you create an email campaign, you select conditional content email as the type of email campaign, and maybe you have one email that's going to go to people who live in Alabama, and you have a special action alert page, advocacy page, just for those Alabama residents. And so you want the links and all the language to say Alabama. Then you create a separate supporter profile for people who live in Florida. It's the same thing. So you can easily just say, this email that's for Alabama, that links to Alabama, that has Alabama reference in the language, goes to people in that supporter profile. The Florida one will go to people in that supporter profile, and on and on. You can also use conditional content for ask strings. So if you have a supporter profile for higher level donors, mid-level donors, and low-level donors, you could have an email with an ask that's different and associate each email to the appropriate supporter profile. So it's just an easier way of creating an email campaign without having to create several email campaigns. Create one with different variants of the actual message. Can I select the fields I want to see in an export supporter data export? Yes. If you go to supporter data, then click on support default supporter record, then there's a little button for export group. If an export group allows you to pick which fields, so supporter fields, you want to see in the actual export when you export the data. This only applies to those supporter fields. It doesn't apply to transaction fields, but it may reduce the number of fields in your spreadsheet, make it a little bit easier. So that is everything. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. Thank you so much for attending. 15 minutes is not a lot of time, but we covered a lot of content. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box and I'll answer them on the website. Also on the website, we'll have this video and this slide deck for you to download. So just go to www.weraisetheroots.com/live and we'll provide this information there. Again, thank you so much for attending and have a great day.